All right, we now welcome on to the DailyDos Wood podcast, former SEAL Team 6 member, Navy SEAL Robert O'Neill. Rob, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it, guys.
52 decorations in the military, 400 combat missions, including the rescue of Captain Phillips, recovery of Marcus Luttrell, and, of course, the raid on Osama bin Laden in which you fired the shots that killed him. You're now out of the military and doing motivational speaking on team building.
When did you come up with the mantra of the Grateful Nation?
Well, we started off with Your Grateful Nation back in probably around 2012, 2013. We've recently changed it to Special Operators Transition Foundation because of just a little more clarity in the name, how we transition veterans to the private sector. But we came up with that just as realizing when I got out of the military, once you leave, they really don't pay the bills anymore, and a lot of men and women don't know what they're going to do. And I found out the hard way that there is a lot of special operators have certain skills that employers want. Like the most important one is knowing how to solve a problem, also stress management and effective communication. So I came up with it with a group of friends.
Let's get into how you started in the military. I understand the story was, the recruiter for the Marines wasn't there and you had gone through a breakup. You want to just explain that whole situation to our listeners?
Yeah, I was at a point in life where a lot of young men and women get where it's like, 18 or 19 years old, I just need to get out of this town. And generally it involves a breakup on either side of the aisle. So the quickest way for me out of Butte, Montana was to join the military. And I had two friends that were Marines, and I decided I want to join the Marine Corps because I'd seen like Full Metal Jacket and stuff like that. I thought it looked really cool. And even though Marine Corps boot camp is probably the hardest one in the military, I want to see what it is. And I want to be a sniper. And I just learned very early on that sometimes it's better to be lucky than good, just because the Marine wasn't there. The Navy guy was. And I went in, the Army guys were there too, but I went into the Navy guy because I had my Marine friends tell me it was a joke, but they told me the Marine Corps is actually part of they have jokes like that where I went into there just to ask him where the Marine was.
I don't know if you can say this or not, but do you want to give us a brief synopsis of what the Navy SEAL training is like?
Yeah, SEAL training is it is the hardest military training. I mentioned Marine Corps as hardest boot camp. SEAL training is hard, special operations training, and it's very, very physical day, and thousands of different exercises a day, and hundreds of pull-ups, and a lot of swimming, and different drills in the water. One of the most famous drills is where they tie you up, tie your hands behind your back, feet together, and you get thrown in the pool for an hour at a time, and you're doing different drills, figuring out how to sink, figuring out how to float, figuring out how to swim, all tied up. And they're doing different drills, but it's not for time. What they're teaching you, though, is that panicking is not going to help you, so don't panic. That's one of those things where if you're worrying about something that you can't affect, stop worrying about it, because it's not going to help. And I'm trying to fix my internet connection. Sorry, guys.
No problem. I understand, too, that you didn't even know how to swim before you joined the Navy. And I think one of the last things with the Navy is swimming with the sharks at night or something. I read something about that.
Yeah, it's I'd been in a lake before and I'd seen people swim, but like you watch the breaststroke, you're like, how hard can it be? And I really didn't know what I was doing. I was fortunate to have a guy teach me how to swim for a few months before I left for the Navy. And then during the 8 months of SEAL training, I learned how to swim, again, the hard way. Well, what's our saying? If you're stupid, you better be hard. So I learned that. And then, one of the last swims at SEAL training is on San Clemente Island. And it's after they show you about an hour's worth of ground. And so the great white sharks out there, and then they make you all swim to the buoy about a mile out and a mile back. So it's just something you got to do. It's like no one's ever been attacked out there. I don't know why. But it's fairly safe, and having been in the water with sharks quite a bit now, I know that they're not out to get you. But I wish 44-year-old Rob could go back and tell 19-year-old Rob you're going to be just fine.
Yeah. Let's get right into the story that you've told so many times. Are you tired of telling it yet?
I'm not tired of telling it. It's just it's to the point now where it doesn't even seem like it was us. Like there's no way we did that. It's just, I know the story, but no, I mean, yeah, whatever questions you have, it's a crazy night, amazing team.
How did, your team and the United States find out where bin Laden was hiding?
Well, it's all a bunch of, it's a total team effort, not just Americans, but an entire coalition. We have so many invisible intelligence operatives out there that are trying to collect intelligence, everything from talking to actual terrorists to different kinds of electronic surveillance and things like that. And there was a group of three-letter agency, mostly women, who found out where he was, and just, it's guys on the ground, it's people in the back, it's all kinds of stuff. And they brought us in and told us that we were one of 5 options because they're pretty sure they knew where Osama bin Laden was. There was one woman in particular, she's depicted as Maya in Zero Dark 30, and she was 100% sure where bin Laden was. And they told us, and we trained up in 2 different locations in the United States for about almost 3 weeks. And once we were done, our commander made the decision to put us over in Afghanistan, just so if we got the green light or the go, that we would be ready right across the border in Afghanistan. So we did that. And then they, once we trained too, and saying that she was 100% sure, not everyone was 100% sure, but it was even President Obama said that I was never 100% sure bin Laden was there, but after watching you train, I was convinced you guys could go in, find out, and come back alive. And so he was more convinced we can live than we were.
I was listening to you on Howard Stern. You guys were talking about that Osama bin Laden was taller than you thought. When you saw him, did you know it was the guy, or you were?
No, I knew. Yeah, I knew it was him. I knew it was him the second I saw him, and even before we went up the stairs, I knew he was in that room on the right. And when I went right into him, I recognized his face, and he was about 6'4", 6'5". He was taller than I thought. His wife was in front of him, but he was 3 feet away, and it wasn't a hard shot. The reason I shot him is because he wasn't surrendering, and I assumed he had a suicide vest on. If anyone's going to blow himself up, it's bin Laden. So I've actually heard criticism like, why just shoot him in the face? You want to recognize him? I'm like, well, you've obviously never dealt with a suicide bomber. You shoot him in the face.
Taking it back a little bit, rewinding. Can you walk us through, not step by step, but through the process of when you guys touched the ground at his compound and up until the moments you left?
Yeah, we had the perfect plan. We were going to put the first helicopter in a hover so the first team could fast rope right in between the main house and then the guest house. So it's right in the middle of the compound. They're going to hover out, snipers watching them, and then everyone's fast roping out, and then the snipers will fast rope out. And we each had different assignments for whichever building we're going to go to. And then my helicopter, which is the second one, we're going to drop snipers outside and the dog handler. And then they're going to fly about 7 or 8 of us, which is my team, up to the rooftop of the main building. We're going to jump down from the roof to his balcony, and then maybe get in a gunfight right there through the window. But the first helicopter couldn't hold the hover, and the pilot, they didn't crash. The pilot made a decision to crash land. And the best way he could do it was pin the tail of his helicopter on the mud wall and pin the nose in the dirt. And he did that. And he doesn't get enough credit for saving everyone's life on that helicopter, because if he tried to power up, he would have rolled it and crashed and killed everybody. So when that happened, we were getting ready to go to the roof, but our pilot saw that happen. So he just put us back down, and we knew through effective communication, something's wrong, we got to get out here. And so we got out in the north side of the compound, which is fine. And we knew there was off to our left, there was a double door that would get into the yard. It's the northeast corner. We went to that, and one of our breachers, who is a methods of entry guy, put a 7-foot charge of C6 on that door, which is a big bomb. And he blew it, and it opened. But there was a brick wall behind it. And the breacher turned around and said, failed breach, this is bad. And I said, no, this is good. That's a fake door. Nobody does that. He's in there. It's a head fake, So, and I didn't know the helicopter crashed in the front yard. And I knew there was another double door, which is a carport off to our right. And we knew that one open, and we'd seen vehicles go through it. So I gave them a courtesy call of, we're going to blast a carport now. And the one boss came over and said, no, don't blow it. We'll open it. Now, I didn't know that they crashed, and the door opened and a thumb came out with a glove that I recognized. And it's one of those points again in life where it doesn't matter how we got here, we're just here. I don't know how they got in there. They're in there. I didn't know they crashed. So we went in, and here's Bin Laden's house. There'd already been a gunfight, and my guys had killed a couple terrorists. I went in the main door in Bin Laden's house, and other guys were ahead of me going down a hallway, and there's rooms off to the side. There's one barricaded door at the end. And so I got into a room. You don't want to stand in a hallway if people shoot down a hallway. And the guy next to me who was on the first helicopter whispered, "Helicopter crashed." And I didn't know what he meant. We had two helicopters behind us, and they were 47s, Chinooks. And I thought, and they weren't stealth, so I thought they got shot down. And so I said, "What helicopter crashed?" And he said, "Our helicopter crashed in the front yard. Like, you walk right past it." And as we're having this conversation, it's starting to register to me what's going on. Our sniper and the dog were running around the entire compound just to make sure no one had escaped anywhere. And at this point, he saw the tail of the helicopter on the fence, and he didn't know they crashed. But he came over the radio and said, "All right, guys inside, be on alert. They're definitely ready for us. They have a training mock-up of our super secret helicopter in the front yard." And our boss said, "No, jackass, that's ours. We crashed." So then I just had a front row seat to watch cool guys do cool stuff. So we're heading down the long hallway. The breachers got the barricaded door open, and we knew from the woman that found Bin Laden that on the stairs we would run into Khalid Bin Laden. So we did. I'm about 8 guys back. Khalid's behind a banister. He's armed with an AK-47. The point man and he had a weird conversation where he sort of called him by name and said, "Come out." And Khalid got confused, so he came out with a gun. The point man shot him, which is a great move. I wouldn't have done that. That's an incredibly smart tactical move. And then we went around the corner up to the second floor. All the guys except the number 1 man split off to my right and left to clear that area. And now I'm number 2 man behind the 1 man, and he's looking up a set of stairs. And that's, like I was mentioning earlier, we knew Bin Laden was up there. There's a curtain hanging up, and his job is to look forward. My job is to look backward to wait for more dudes. But we're not getting any. But he saw people moving behind the curtain, and he assumed those are the suicide bombers that are going to blow us up. But we can beat him if we go now. So he started saying something to me like, "Come on, let's go. We got to go." He didn't know it was me. He knew it was one of his guys based on my position. I had my hand on his shoulder, and I got nobody. But based on what he was saying, I was like, all right. I know he was brave. It wasn't bravery on my part. It was more of I'm tired of thinking about it. Let's get it over with. I'm going to find out what it's like to blow up now. And I squeezed him. We went up the stairs. He pulled the curtain, and he tackled the people that he thought were going to blow up, which is incredibly brave. And because he went this way, I went that way, and there's Osama bin Laden standing there taller than I thought. Like I explained earlier, he's a threat. His hands were on his wife's shoulder, and I shot him twice, shot him again, and then I moved her. And you can just see, she could have been a suicide bomber, but when you get in a situation like that, you just sort of tell. And she's not a threat, so I put her on the bed. Another one put him on the bed, and then other kind of sinks in. So I'm standing there, and a buddy of mine comes up to me, and he goes, "Hey, are you good?" And I said, "No, what do we do now?" And he said, "Now we find the computers. We do this every night, hundreds of times." And I said, "Yeah, you're right. I'm back." And he said, "Yeah, you just killed Osama bin Laden. Your life just changed. Just get to work." So, all right. And so we went to work. We got the famous pictures of bin Laden. It's actually my hands in the picture, if they ever release them, that's holding his head together. And then we went down to the second floor. They had 3 offices. We get all the computers and whatnot that we can fit in bags. I went back upstairs. They had put him in a body bag, so I was one of 3 guys to help him carry down the stairs. And when we carried him outside, we had to drop him off with a sniper. And that turned out to be one of the snipers, the actual lead sniper that shot the Somali pirate. So it's the same group of guys.
Wow.
It's crazy. And then our helicopter came in, picked up the first team and the body, and then we actually got picked up by one of the 47s that was carrying another team from SEAL Team 6. So it's kind of cool to think that SEAL Team 6 got rescued by SEAL Team 6, and then we took off. So we're flying back to And we know that if it's going to take 90 minutes to cross the border, and if we can live for 90 minutes, we get 50 more years. We get to see our kids again. And so, but again, worrying about a plane shooting us down isn't going to stop the plane from shooting us down. So I'm not going to worry about it. Just start the stopwatch. So we start the stopwatch. I'm sitting next to a Navy SEAL from a different team, well, from Team 6, a different squadron. He's actually, his name is Robin. He's from Manhattan. And he asked me the question everyone asked everyone that night, who got him? And I said, I did. And he said, being from Manhattan, he said, on behalf of my family, thank you. Which is really weird to hear from another SEAL Team 6 guy, but it's awesome. So now we're flying out, and stopwatch is going, and it's been, you're just watching the clock. You know, it's been 10 minutes. I got to live 90 minutes. It's been 20 minutes. Got to go 90, 30 minutes, 40 minutes, 50 minutes. At 50 minutes, I remember thinking of watching a no-hitter at the top of the seventh. Like, you don't want to say anything about a no-hitter, but you're almost watching a no-hitter. And we're still flying. We get to 60 minutes, and in 70 minutes, we got to make it 90 minutes. And we get to 80 minutes, and I remember thinking, like, it's watching the Miracle on Ice when the Americans beat the Russians in hockey. And you can hear everyone counting down. Even now, if you watch the replay of the Olympics in 1980, 10, 9, everyone's nervous.